So tonight I am going to do my first music review. The album that I have chosen to do for my first music review ever, or at least my first official music review, is Logic's debut album, Under Pressure. I just want to say I have had that album on my iTunes and Android player for quite some time, maybe since last year, maybe early December or early January. I'm not sure, but I think I've had it for a while, but I just hadn't listened to it because I was being an asshole and I didn't know anything about Logic. All I knew was that he was some white passing biracial rapper. Here's how I came across Logic. So I was on this website looking at music to download, and I was looking at artists who I happen to like and stand for. Not really stand for. I say stand for, but I'm not really into that whole stan world anymore. I even abandoned the whole Mariah Carey Lamb world after realizing that a lot of people are ignorant. But I was just looking for new music from my favorite artists and favorite singers, or just artists that I happen to enjoy. And there weren't any new music in that regard from artists that I've already listened to, but I came across this album, the deluxe edition of Under Pressure. I had no idea who Logic was. I am someone who more or less judges a book by its cover from time to time. I was like, who the hell is this? He's cute, so why not download it? Because the deluxe edition has a graffiti art of his profile, and I thought he was a light-skinned black person just from that photo. I didn't think he was white passing. Looking at pictures of him on Google Images, yeah, he does appear white passing, and I was confused because I was like, I didn't think he was that white passing to the point where I can't tell if he's mixed or not. I was like, he looks like he's not fully white, but I didn't know anything about him. But I downloaded his album out of curiosity because I've never heard of the guy before. I've never heard of Logic until I went onto that website and saw the deluxe edition of Under Pressure being promoted. So I just went ahead and downloaded it. And I looked online to hear more about this Logic character, and people were like, this is my favorite white rapper next to Eminem. And I was like, white rapper? I didn't know if he was white or not. He didn't look that white to me, but I was confused because I was like, there is no way this could be a white rapper. Like, I'm over the whole Macklemore scene. I'm over the whole Iggy Azalea. I'm just over the whole novelty of white rappers being good at what they do because it's in a field that's normally created by black people. And you know how I feel about Iggy and Macklemore. So I was just kind of like, I don't know anything about this Logic guy, but let's just see. And here's the thing. When I found out that he was white passing and biracial, I was like, okay. But then I still was like, okay, but is he one of those people that's going to deny his light skin privilege, his white passing privilege? I didn't know anything about him. So I took my precious time in listening to that album until I heard Twitter user Kimtastic talk about how good he was. Then she compared him to Drake and J. Cole. She said that he was much better than J. Cole, which I don't get the J. Cole hate. I know his music can be at times underwhelming, but I personally have nothing against J. Cole. I like J. Cole. He's one of my favorite rappers. I think he's a good MC. He has good delivery. I like J. Cole, but I want to check Logic out after I heard Kimtastic talking about how she liked Logic. I thought, okay, she seems like someone that I can trust when it comes to her opinions on certain people. She seems like she has good judgment. And she said that Logic seems like a genuinely good person. So I decided to stop being so pig-headed and just began to listen to Under Pressure. And well, like, here it goes. The introduction was a little bit boring. I felt he was talking about how he was at a concert and he sees so many faces of different races, which is kind of cliche. Talking about breaking barriers, and being that he is white passing and half white, it's kind of uninspiring to me, but I do also get the sentiment of that part. I notice that a lot of his fans are white boys. A lot of the people that review him and talk about Logic are white, and it's probably because of the way that Logic appears, even though I don't feel that his music is really geared towards the white suburban audience. Anyone can listen to Logic, but his music is definitely geared towards those who are black or mixed race and grew up in an environment that he grew up in. And I haven't grew up in an underprivileged environment when it came to class and background, but it seems to me like his demographic, the one that's actually going to the concerts and buying his music, are probably white, as in it is with the whole hip-hop scene. Most of the consumers are white, but the core audience seems to be black or mixed race. A lot of his Bobby Soxers, who he calls his fans, female fans, tend to be black girls. At least that's what I've looked online. And a lot of his good critics are black. His biggest critics are black men and black women as well. So I feel like he is diverse in the audience when it comes to that, but a lot of his stands happen to be white. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you can just tell how people receive certain artists by how comfortable they are with their appearance, because they will say Logic is the deepest rapper ever. And I'm like, he's okay. I like Logic. I'm going to be honest. I like Logic. He's a rapper that I enjoy. But if you tell me that he's the best rapper ever and he's the deepest rapper that you could think of, I'm just like, you're ignorant, because that's not true. And I feel like people say that because he's white passing, because he appears as a white rapper, and that's why they feel the way that they do about him. And there's no disrespect. It's just that Logic has privilege because of his appearance and because he is biracial. But moving on, after the introduction, we get into Soul Food, which is a hot track. I like the production, very old school, very nostalgic. I like his flow. One lyric that really got me was when he talked about how his sister was being beaten by her boyfriend, and he says repeatedly that he would kill his girlfriend's boyfriend. He would kill him. He's like, I'll kill him, I'll kill him, kill him, I'll kill him, I'll kill him, I'll kill him, and much more dramatic, much more hurt than how I am delivering it. But you can hear the hurt in his voice and his hurt for his sister. And he's like, I would kill him, but I don't want to go to jail. And that really moved me. Then after the 2.5 minute mark, then the counterpoint switches, and then a Teddy's Jam type of production and beat comes on, and then he raps. And that's probably my favorite part of the song, where it switches the production, it switches the beat, the key. And Soul Food is a pretty good track. I like it. So 8 out of 10 for Soul Food. I'm Gone is a smooth jam. I love the production. It is very slick. Logic is singing. And of course, this whole trend of singing rappers, this whole, I want to be able to rap and sing successfully, as we have seen on Empire with Hakeem's character. And someone said that Hakeem is like the 50th millionth first rapper to successfully sing and rap at the same time, which I rolled there. But I really like I'm Gone. It kind of reminds me of Kendrick Lamar, something off of Section 80. He's got a lot of Kendrick Lamar comparisons, but whatever. I mean, a lot of people are going to sound similar to each other. I don't see it as a big deal with Logic. I think he can hold his own. Gang Related, one of my favorite songs. The production, the melody, the beat, the voice sample. This song is top notch. It is perfection. He is rapping about the gang life from his brother's perspective. This is probably a fan favorite. I can see a lot of people like this track. Buried Alive, which I believe was a single. It's a good album. Very Good Kid, Mad City type of feel to it. Similar to Kendrick Lamar. Logic has even admitted that his music is very Kendrick Lamar influenced. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't see it as ripping Kendrick Lamar off because, like I said, he's been doing this since 2009. This isn't something where he's like, I'm not my own person. I'm just going to copy off of anyone that I can rip off. Buried Alive is also a good track. Bounce, kind of a mediocre track, but I like it. I like the melody. This is more radio friendly. I kind of wish Logic would have more turn up songs. I feel like Logic is good, but he would be even better if he just stopped being so serious and had a few fun tracks every now and then. And he does, but like songs like All I Do, which is a very fun type of song. I watched the music video, which I have to say, there's not one black girl in the music video. There's like all these dark-skinned black guys and Logic, of course, who's like the lightest one in the group, and there's not one black girl. I believe there was one black girl at the end where he's like slapping on the ass, which of course that's so fucking cliche that the only time there's like a black girl or one who's visible, she's getting her ass slapped. Which there's nothing wrong with that, but you can just tell. And I don't think Logic is, bad or like he's a huge misogynist, but I have to pay attention to certain black male rappers who, you see the representation in the music videos and how they narrate about women. Because as a music critic, a social critic as well, I have to talk about the misogyny and the colorism and anti-blackness in the music, which I don't think Logic portrays, but that's just how I feel. But Bounce is like probably a 7 out of a 10. Growing Pains, one of my other favorite songs. I really like the jazz influence. He's talking about his nicotine addiction. At first, when I heard about Nicki, I thought he was talking about Nicki Minaj, but he wasn't. Never Enough, one of my favorite tracks. I really love it. This is probably my most played track. It's a very Donny Hathaway sound to it. It's very smooth. This is my angsty black girl type of song. I will listen to it, and I just feel like I just want to stay in my bed all day and relax, but also turn up sometimes. This was that song for you. It's a beautiful song. I love the introduction. Everything about the song is perfect. I love the female vocals, Logic's flow. Never Enough is terrific. Metropolis is probably my least favorite track. It's very Kendrick Lamar influenced. It's just so uninspired. I would probably give this track a 5 out of 10. It's not awful, but it's just very mediocre. Nicki is a song that has me asking many questions. Who is Nicki about? Of course, people have said it's about his nicotine addiction. People have said that he also wanted us to think of Nicki as a girl. And this brings me to the question, who is Nicki? If Nicki is a girl, who is she? Because in one lyric, Logic says, you could be my Coretta and I could be MLK. Something along those lines. And I was thinking, is Nicki black? Because I know Logic is clearly biracial. And if he were to say, I'm MLK and you're my Coretta, I'd be like, okay, because clearly you're white passing. But if your girlfriend is black, then that would make sense. Even if you do have white passing privilege, I can understand the comparison right there. But then I'm thinking, if Nicki's not a black girl, why would you make that Coretta comparison? Because it would not have made sense if the Nicki that he's talking about isn't black at all. And you don't regard it as some black love type of relationship, then who is this Nicki? And the reason why I've been asking questions because his fiance is, I believe, a white Latina, and I hope it wasn't intended for her because it wouldn't have made sense for you to use a black love reference to an interracial relationship that you are in. And I'm not just saying that to be petty, like, oh, this mixed black person is with a white girl. No way. But still, I like the song Nikki. I just thought that Coretta Scott King reference had me thinking, well, this Nikki sounds black, you know? And like I said, Logic by any means of the imagination isn't some colorist person. At least that's not how I see him as, or anti-black misogynist, because from what I've heard from a lot of fans of his, a lot of his female fans who are black, he is very friendly, he is very engaging, he takes pictures, he interacts. He's not like Macklemore, who ignores his black fans. Logic is very interactive with a lot of his female fans, and most of the fans who have had positive things to say about him were black. So that's good. Under Pressure, my favorite song. I love it. This is like a head banging type of song where I'm just like with my head back and forth, and you know, that song, yeah, he produced it himself. A line that spoke to me was when he was rapping from his sister's perspective of how he says that she's beautiful, but then why doesn't any man want to date her? I feel his sister on that one, because that's something that I feel all the time. And then he just talks about how people want him to basically give them something when he doesn't owe them anything. The only people that he would trust is his own blood. And his dad is calling him and saying, please don't rap about my drug use. And, you know, I'm clean, I'm 57. That's my mom's age, by the way. And it's just a very powerful song. And then towards the end, I think he samples Coltrane with the jazzy sound to it. And he also samples Easy Does It, you know, Eazy-E's song Easy Does It, and this is just a great song. Till the End. It's a cool song. I like it. I like the female vocals on this one. It's smooth. I really don't have anything bad to say about this album. Now was, I believe, the first single which he was going to put on his EP, but he actually canceled it and just decided, you know, as a matter of fact, just put it on the deluxe edition. And Now is a pretty, you know, mid-tempo type of song where you could probably go to a party and turn up to. Driving Miss Daisy, which I'm disappointed that he duetted with Infantile Ronald McDonald, but other than that, this is a pretty solid song. It's a pretty weird sounding song. I like the production, but it's very peaceful. It's the production is beautiful, like never enough. And Driving Miss Daisy, this song is beautiful. Like, I really love the production. Alright, which he, of course, he had Big Sean, the misogynist, featured on this song, and this is a pretty cool song. I don't think it's bad. I just don't like Big Sean that much because he's always saying ableist stuff about women and making misogynistic stuff about women. But I didn't really mind the features with Infantile Ronald McDonald and Big Sean the misogynist. But I would say this album is pretty good. I like this album. Is it the best rap album that I've ever heard? No. Is it probably the best album of 2014? Probably not. But this is a good album. I would give it like 8.5 out of 10. You know, Logic, you did a good job. I look forward to your next album. And yeah, I would say Logic is one of those rappers who I feel can have a solid niche. A lot of people say that he's been breaking out. A lot of people have been saying that he's been getting a lot of attention, and that's good. I haven't really heard of him in circles where Logic this, Logic that. I've never even heard much of his music on the radio. So maybe it's because I'm out of the loop. I don't listen to much mainstream radio these days. But I personally don't feel like Logic is terrible. I like Logic. He's probably in my top 5 current rappers that I like. Nicki Minaj, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Drake, and then Logic. Because these are rappers that I'm always gonna go back and listen to. I do have to say though that Logic sometimes in his interviews comes off as kind of hokey with his, oh, you know, race, it ain't that deep, I don't really care. Why is J. Cole talking about this when clearly I have a white mom too and you don't see me complaining about white people and blah blah blah. And I'm like, because you look white, dude. You can sit there and say that you're not white all you want and that you're biracial and that you're a black man on the inside, but at the end of the day, you look white. So that's why you don't find race a huge problem, because you're not walking down the street and people automatically are going to say, oh, that's a nigga. In his Metropolis song, he even referenced being called a nigga by some racist white lady. He's like, this crazy white bitch looking at us like, who are these niggas? And I'm like, well, she may be looking at your friends, but maybe not you. She probably can't tell. I don't know. And I don't want to say that Logic has never experienced racism, because in his song Mixed Feelings, off of one of his mixtapes, he said that he was called the N-word by his mother. He said he was born to a black man and born to a racist. That was like, whoa. And then when he said that my mom called me the N-word, and then when I get to school, guess what the kids call me? Cracker. I was like, whoa. Because that is just something where cracker is definitely not a racial slur. If you say it's a racial slur, I'm just going to cut you off, okay? It is not a racial slur. Light bright, damn